Welcome to your personalized deep dive, Elton. We've got a really fascinating case of perfect timing today.
Oh, absolutely perfect timing.
Right. So yesterday, you stood in front of the Palo Alto Rotary Club and basically told them to demand testing for LPA, ApoB, and C-reactive protein. And you said everyone should target an LDL cholesterol below 70.
Yeah, and then literally this morning, March 13th, 2026, the ACC and the AHA dropped their massive new dyslipidemia guidelines. It's basically the brand new medical rule book for managing cholesterol.
Which is just wild.
Mhm.
So our mission today is to compare your Rotary presentation directly against this new clinical gold standard. Did the AHA swing in your direction? Where do you two diverge? And honestly, for a general audience, whose guidelines are actually better?
Well, let's start with the testing you recommended, Elton. You gave the Rotary Club this blanket rule test everyone for these advanced biomarkers, and the AHA actually validates that focus, but they apply a much finer filter.
Okay, how so?
Take lipoprotein, or LPA. They agree with you completely here. They actually mandate it for everyone now.
But just once in a lifetime, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, LPA is genetically determined. Your level basically doesn't change, so testing it every single year is just kind of pointless.
Exactly. It's a one-and-done test. But then when we get to ApoB and high-sensitivity CRP, the AHA definitely diverges from your universal approach. They classify those as risk enhancers, meaning they're used selectively, not for the general population.
Okay, wait, I need to jump in here because the biology of why they do that is just so cool. Let's look at ApoB for a second. Standard LDL testing just measures the total volume or weight of cholesterol in the blood, right?
Right.
But ApoB measures the actual number of particles carrying that cholesterol.
Yeah.
It's like the difference between weighing a bucket of baseballs versus actually counting how many baseballs are in the bucket.
That is a perfect way to visualize it, because if a patient has a really high number of very small, dense particles, their standard LDL volume might look totally normal.
They're actually at huge risk.
Huge risk, yeah. Their risk of building plaque is massive. So the AHA recommends ApoB testing specifically for patients with type 2 diabetes or metabolic syndrome, just to catch those hidden, highly atherogenic particles.
Got it. And they treat C-reactive protein or CRP pretty similarly, right? You told the Rotary Club to get it checked, which makes total sense since it measures systemic inflammation.
Yeah, and high inflammation can drive heart disease, even if your cholesterol is perfectly managed.
But I'm guessing the AHA thinks testing every single healthy person for inflammation is just overkill.
They do, yeah. They reserve CRP for borderline cases where a doctor needs like a tiebreaker to decide whether to prescribe statins. I mean, universal testing sounds incredibly empowering in a Rotary speech, Elton, but clinically it can lead to unnecessary anxiety, over-medication, and inflated costs.
Fair enough. So once we actually find those high-risk patients, what's the target? Because Elton advocated for a universal LDL under 70 and even lower for people with cardiovascular disease.
Well, the AHA actually brought back hard numerical targets this year, and Elton, they align beautifully with your aggressive stance. They recommend an LDL under 100 for intermediate risk, under 70 for high risk.
Nice.
Yeah, and an ultra-strict goal of under 55 for secondary prevention.
Wait, let's define that really quickly. Secondary prevention, meaning patients with existing ASCVD, right? People who already have hardened plaque or have had a heart attack.
Correct. Now, to place patients into those different target tiers safely, the AHA relies heavily on the new PREVENT calculator.
Oh man, I was reading about this calculator. I am honestly shocked it took them this long to update it. The old pooled cohort equations were overestimating a person's 10-year risk of a heart attack by something like 40 to 50%.
I know, it was a massive clinical flaw. The old calculator was built on demographic data from decades ago. It completely missed modern declines in smoking rates or, the widespread use of preventive meds over the last 30 years.
So the new PREVENT calculator finally fixes that.
Yeah, it provides the exact clinical precision doctors need to safely implement the aggressive LDL lowering that you talked about.
Here's where it gets really interesting for me, though. If I'm sitting in the audience at that Rotary Club, the AHA's tiered system based on a complex calculator is completely unhelpful. Isn't Elton's blanket under 70 rule just vastly superior for public messaging?
From a behavioral standpoint, absolutely. I mean, Elton, your single aggressive target gives people a clear, memorable destination. The AHA's guidelines aren't designed for a Rotary Club audience. They are the intricate clinical roadmap for physicians to get their patients to that destination safely.
So the verdict is that you both win. You delivered the aggressive spirit of the new science perfectly, Elton.
Mm-hmm.
But before we wrap up this deep dive, I noticed one detail in the AHA guidelines that really changes the game.
Oh, the pediatric screening.
Yes. They now recommend initial cholesterol screening for children between the ages of 9 and 11.
It completely shifts the timeline of preventive cardiology.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So here is something to mull over, Elton. If pediatricians start tracking genetic markers like LPA in elementary school, intervening before the plaque even has a chance to form, how will that fundamentally reshape the advice you're giving to the Rotary Club a decade from now?
That's a great question to take to the podium next time.
Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.